You're watching the Contraband Esports Network, and I am Kuze. Today I'm bringing you a Starcraft 2 1v1 between Nexlife and Ares. Ares playing the Terran in this 3 o'clock position, and Nexlife playing the Zerg in this, call it a 7 o'clock position. These are two really good South Korean players. Nexlife is 90, I believe 92nd in Korea. So he is a very, very good player. Ares don't know too much about, but he's also a very solid player. And yeah, well, it should be a really great game. I'm really looking forward to it. And let's take a look at what's going on the field right now. Nothing too out of the ordinary so far. Real quick pitches for our CESN Player of the Week tournament. For those of you who have played in it and have signed up for it, thank you very much. We appreciate your support. Last week we had Optical RH stop by. He is top 100 in the US, and he defeated our current, or at the time our current holder, Hyper, in a best of 5 matchup. So he took home $5 last week, and if you are interested in signing up for that, it can be found at z50k.com/groups/CESN, so do sign up for that, particularly if you're a Grandmaster. So we were trying to find somebody for Optical RH to play that will be a good match to watch. He's a very, very good player, and it was a fantastic game to watch. But take a look now. Nexlife has used that assimilator trick earlier to get 11 drones out. That is something we do see in Korea, not so much in the the North American leagues, if you will. But it was a nice move, and it's something we probably should see a little bit more. We see he went for an early expansion as well, very heavy on the minerals early, just now getting that gas up, so no real units for him to be heard of. Meanwhile, this barracks just finishing for our Terran player Ares. He's got his refinery up, and it is fully saturated, it looks like. So see if he uses that early for Hellions or something of that nature, maybe Reapers, although we do not see that as often as we did in maybe Beta, when they were a little bit more effective in the early game. Because he is scouting now with this SCV, gonna get a little bit of vision what's going on here, see this expansion, and know he's gonna have to either push or expand to respond to it. We see a spawning pool just now coming up from Nexlife, so we're gonna see some Zerglings early, as we always do from Zerg players. And we see a bunker now from Ares. It is a little bit far back though. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's got a marine done, and it is coming down, but that's gonna be out of range of this hatchery here. So I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe trying to box him in, wall him in. See, this Overlord is moving, so if he was trying to do some damage to that, that's not going to work. See, Ares moving this Marine in now, though. Maybe try and put a little damage on that hatchery. I don't know. Running back to this bunker now. Seems a little bit confused, a little bit out of sorts. Is that bunker going to finish? Yeah, it is. Looks like... I'm not really sure what he's doing here. Ares has canceled it now, it looks like. So he's heading that SCV up into the main. There are some Zerglings here, though. They should get us around on it. That SCV only has 35 health. Ares got to be careful if he wants to get some sight. He should see that spawning pool, though. That's important, and he's going to lose that SCV. He needs to see that the spawning pool is there for a couple of reasons. Needs to know that there are some units on the field now for Nexlife, although we did encounter those Zerglings with the SCV. And know that there is, well, if you can see it moving, and if he was paying attention, you should see the metabolic boost coming up as well. So you should know, okay, there are going to be some Zerglings out on the field for a while here. Meanwhile, we see a tech lab here on this factory, so there should be maybe some tanks coming out of it, maybe some Hellions. We'll see their Hellions right away, and let's see if he gets them on the field fast enough. You see, he is researching that blue flame infernal pre-igniter, from that tech lab. So he should be going into some fairly heavy Hellions here. That's a good response to those Zerglings, and we will see how effective they are. Zerglings breaking down these destructible rocks right now. Gonna get that third. So Nexlife gonna go ahead and expand again, it looks like, just trying to out macro the Terran player at this point, who seems pretty content to turtle up, although we do see a command center coming down now for him, and he probably is gonna fly that over to the natural. Be interesting to see if he's gonna go ahead and upgrade it first, get an orbital command, so he's gonna have mules here, so that if he does get attacked, he's gonna get more minerals out of it early with those mules. Obviously way more effective than regular SCVs, but do die quickly, so they only give you an advantage for a very short amount of time. So he's gonna have both orbital commands, probably, if I had to make a guess, dropping mules down here at this natural right away, and we'll see if he does do that. We do see he's got 3 Hellions on the field now. Well, not really on the field, they're just now getting on the field, getting past that wall, that supply wall that is so common for Terran players, and see what he does with them. Should put on a little bit of harass. The blue flame research is almost done now, and you do see a siege tank coming up as well. Reactor some other stuff. And you do see a third now from Nexlife getting around. I'm not really sure how he went all the way around with a drone and set that up. Going to get those rocks down though anyway. You do see these Hellions getting in here now. Doing a little bit of damage on that queen. Nexlife got to be careful. Got to keep that creep. Those queens on that creep because they do get very slow, and if they get too far out of the creep, they're going to be in some serious trouble. And you see, it looks like Ares trying to bait the knot a little bit. Meanwhile, these rocks are dead now, so Nexlife can move in there. But this queen only has 89 health now. He's got to be careful. He did get it back, though, it looks like. He's got a pretty nice creep spread as well. It's all the way up to this high yield at this point. So good creep spread from Nexlife, making sure that the middle of the map is really his to do with what he wants with it. Although Ares is here with these Hellions on the left side, so he's got to be careful, Nexlife. But he is moving out with some Zerglings now. Looks like he's going to put a little pressure, maybe see this wall. Nice bunker here from Ares, as well as the siege tank. He's got to make sure these siege tanks don't get surrounded though, and wow, those Zerglings could have gone right up into the main right there, and that has to be a mistake from Nexlife because he could have just absolutely decimated that natural and would have given a very, very nice early advantage, but he didn't do it. I think he just assumed the supply depot would be up, but it was down, and Ares did not pull it up. He would have had time to get at least 6 or 7 Zerglings in there, and they would have had free range over these SCVs back here, but he didn't do it. So that has to be chalked up as a mistake for Nexlife, and we'll have to see if that comes back to bite him, because that was definitely a very nice advantage that he could have taken way more advantage of. We see an Overseer now flying over here, and not really sure what he's doing with it. It's not an Overlord, so it doesn't look like he's going to sack it. Meanwhile, we see Ares moving in here a little bit with some 2 tanks and some Hellions. A nice sweep there. Going to get some of this creep out of the way that I was mentioning earlier, because he does not want that far into that high yield early. But we see this Overseer rather, is here and is seeing a lot of stuff, and there are no Marines really to deal with. So Nexlife's going to know, okay, there's 3 factories here, a nice contamination of this factory, just making sure it can't do anything for a good amount of time here, 30-45 seconds. It's going to give him a slight advantage, and any advantage you can get early in this game is going to be multiplied later in the game. Take a look real quick at the harvester count. It is 67 over 41 right now, although there are mules on the field, but that is definitely an advantage for our Zerg player here. Ares, meanwhile, moving in, toasting some Zerglings, going to hit this third, this spine crawler, not up yet, and let's see what these Hellions can do. They got 3 Zerglings right there, 2 more there, and wow, they're killing pretty much everything that was at this third, and it looks like they might get this queen as well if they are. Gotta be careful though, these roaches are up now from Nexlife, driving them back. It's a good job. You see that harvester advantage I was just mentioning is now down to 52 over 45, so definitely a good play by Ares, getting himself back in the game and from a macro standpoint. And take a look at what he's got here at his natural. He's got a couple of siege tanks, although there is no real chokeage here. He's got to maybe block off one of these, always a good idea. Another barracks coming up from him, or did he fly this one down? Looks like he flew this one down, and you see some forwards as well. Take a look at the production tab, which we have not been looking at enough, I don't think, at this point. We got 2 siege tanks coming up, some roaches, some burrow, so maybe some burrowed roaches, some tunneling going on. We will see these Hellions are back, and they're just harassing this third behind it now. And there are a lot of roaches here from Nexlife now. He has gotten that roach worn up, and nice surround by those Zerglings. Only losing 1 Zergling for, it looks like 3 Hellions, and this other Hellion is trying to hit this queen. Queen having none of it, getting rid of it. So those Hellions are all gone, and this roach warren here getting tunneling claws, so those roaches will be able to burrow and tunnel around, which is going to be a problem for the Terran player Ares at this point, because he does have some missile turrets up, but otherwise not too much in terms of detection, so those will be able to just sort of have free range as much as they want to get into this naturally. I think he can get in here fairly easily without being detected, unless there was a sweep, so Ares got to be careful. He is getting a bunker up here. Looks like he's going ahead and getting these destructible rocks. He does know this third is here and decently saturated, despite the fact that he killed a lot of those drones earlier. And he's going to get this down at this high yield, this command center, and try and get it saturated quickly, see if there's some mules that come down or something. But there is an Overseer over here, and it is in position to get a Nidus. You see a Nidus network is being built, actually. A Nidus canal over into that main. So Ares got to be careful again. A lot of stuff going on right now from Nexlife that is a little tricky stuff. Ares got to be very, very cognizant of what's going on this map, looking for tunneled roaches. And sure enough, there's a Nidus swarm coming up right now. And he's got to be very careful. Does he notice that? Let's take a look. He does not. So that is out of his vision, and he's got to be very, very careful. These roaches are all over here. Not doing too much, but the Nidus swarm is up, and it did have a couple of roaches in it, some Zerglings. There's a decent force right now in the natural, or in the main rather. And it's going to hit this factory. Should be able to get this factory before the stores that we see. Nice job by Ares canceling that, moving it up, knowing that those roaches and those zerglings can't hit air, but he might lose it in the air anyway. He's probably getting back doing some really good damage on these zerglings and sort of luring these roaches into the range of these siege tanks, which are in siege mode. You see Nexlife using that tunneling, burrowing technology to try and save those roaches, but it's not going to be enough. Nice sweep. This Nidus network is still here, though, bringing in a couple more roaches, trying to kill, looks like 1 or 2 of those Hellions, and they're going to try and burrow. Looks like this Nidus room is going to die before we can get anything else up there. You see Ares knowing, okay, I need some missile turrets here to detect these. Nice response, though, from him, dealing with that. Could have lost a lot more than he did. I don't even know if he lost that other factory. Looks like he flew it down, repaired it without any real losses, so it was a tricky move by Nexlife, but he didn't get too much out of it. That didn't really hit the mineral line, which maybe he should have instead of that factory. But we'll see what he does this next turnaround. He's got infestors now, got some zerglings coming up, and he's also got a spire coming up. So we'll see what he does with that. Spire obviously is going to mean Mutas, and he when Ares has so many siege tanks, those are going to be a problem. Siege tanks obviously can't hit air, and so Mutas are going to be very, very effective against them. And you see there are really very, very few Marines out from Ares, which is something I'm personally not used to seeing. Normally I'm so used to Marine Marauder balls that you almost assume that Terran's going to do it every time, but this time it really hasn't. Ares really hasn't done that, and I think from a Zerg standpoint, Nexlife a little bit confused, hasn't really taken advantage of that fact with air at this point in the game so far. You do see a couple Thors from Ares, which are pretty effective against mutes, but you know those are only 2 Thors, very, very easily targeted down by some mutas. And there are some infestors here, so fungal growth can be very effective against those large packs of Thors and siege tanks if there are mutes in there as well. But we'll see. Nexlife has gotten a very good creep spread meanwhile while this has all been going on. He looks like he got this high yield, if I haven't mentioned that yet. I'm not exactly sure, been so caught up in the action. He's going to get that saturated pretty quickly. Meanwhile, this high yield planetary fortress from Ares has been up and running for a while now. And he's doing a good job here taking this side of his map, the middle of Ares' side of the map, the northern side, while Nexlife has taken the southern side. And both of them are just going to be fighting around these 2 chokes, it looks like, at this point. And whoever wins these battles in the middle is going to have an advantage in terms of these outside expansions, which are going to be very important, I think, if this battle keeps going much further. You see a ton of unused minerals, by the way, from Nexlife, so he's got to do something with those. And he doesn't seem to really know. He's killing his own roaches at this point. I'm not sure what he's doing over here. It looks pretty bored, it seems, but he's got roaches up here doing a little bit of damage on this planetary fortress. There are a couple roaches that have gotten back behind here. There's another command center coming up, but that they didn't really do too much. And let's see, where is he? What exactly is he doing here? He sort of backed off a little bit. Looks like he's getting a greater spire, maybe going into brood lords here. So that's a very tricky move. He knows, okay, there is no really anti-air here from Ares. If I get brood lords, it's going to be very, very effective against ground units. He's not going to be able to do anything about them. There are a lot of missile turrets, but otherwise nothing that can really kill air aside from these Thors that I mentioned before, and there are not many of them. There are some Vikings now coming up from Ares. I'm not sure if that's because he saw the amount of air that was going on, or if he just knew, okay, I don't have air. Nice fungal growth, though. Wow. Quick engage there from Ares, trying to get in there, do some damage with those Hellions, but there's a nice fungal growth from the infestors that our Zerg player does have, Nexlife, excuse me. And so these brood lords are now here, and they're going to do a ton of damage. Wow, look at them tear through those Hellions. There is really no roaches to be heard of over here, and these brood lords are pretty much having at them. There's some mutes here. You see these Thors are here. There's 4 Thors, and they are not really sort of single targeting down these brood lords. They don't seem to be too concerned about these mutes. There are some Vikings on this right flank of Ares now at this point, but these siege tanks are in trouble. He needs to be out. All 4 of those Thors getting absolutely eaten alive by brood lords right now, and that is a serious problem for him. And these siege tanks are in full retreat. These roaches are now